Hi there, welcome back to your yoga class. Today we are doing Yin Yoga. You might have done lots of Yin before, you might never have heard of it, but we're going to do a beginner sequence today. So, just to give you a little bit of a taste of what it's about, so we'll get on with it and we'll explain as we go along. So let's sit first of all cross-legged. Really important at the beginning of any yoga practice to just centre yourself on the mat and just set an intention for what you're going to be doing in your practice today. So let's sit with our legs crossed and just pop your hands on your knees. Now you can shut your eyes at this point, you don't have to. And we're going to take a nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. And just have a think to yourself, whilst you're breathing nice and deeply right into that abdominal area, what do you want from this practice today? Do you just want to relax? Do you want to maybe increase your flexibility? Do you want to get rid of any aches and pain? Just have a little bit of a think about that as we go through. Nice big inhales, nice big exhales. And keep going. Breathing through your nose all the time. Going and try and count into yourself, how long is my inhale taking, how long is my exhale taking. It might be 3 seconds, it might be 4, it's not important. Just notice how long it's taking. That's it. Feel those sit bones grounding down onto the mat as well. That's it. Always nice to take a pause, especially before a yoga practice. You might have been rushing about all day. You might have been at work. There's so many things, but just to sit down on the mat, that kind of presses a bit of a reset button for you and you're ready, more accepting of what's to come, I think, a wee bit more engaged in your practice. So settling on an exhale, just gently open up your eyes. That's it. Now, Yin Yoga, what's it all about? Well, we're going to do a beginner sequence today. And Yin Yoga is all about doing less poses, but for longer, okay? And I'll explain why as we go through. There's plenty of time to explain all of that to you. And if you want to, in this class, you can have some prop. You're always welcome to use props, but especially for Yin Yoga, because you'll be holding the poses for longer, you may want to use some. I've got a bolster, I've got a blanket here as well, and the usual blocks and strap. You don't need these though. You don't have to rush out and get them. If you've got a pillow lying about or an old blanket, just try it. It's a very individual thing. Okay, so we're going to start. Our first pose is butterfly pose. So let me just show you what we're going to do. We are going to put the soles of our feet together. Okay, now what we're going to do here is, it's not really that important about where your feet are, okay? You can have them tucked up if you want, or a bit longer out, a bit of a slimmer diamond in that shape to start with, okay? And all we're going to do is come over, okay? You don't have to keep your back absolutely straight, but come over and just rest your hands. I'll do this from the side so that you can see it. And we're going to hold this for 2 minutes, okay? So you're just coming over like this. Now, if you've got blocks, you can holding it here, okay? You can even put a block between your, if it depends how far you're coming down, you can rest on the block, okay? So it's a passive stretch. You need to be able to try and hold it for 2 minutes. So I'll set my timer and we'll get going. So first of all, we need to find where our edge is. Where is the limit of just being, you don't want to be uncomfortable, okay? You want to feel the stretch. Okay, now for some people, their head might nearly be down. For some people, they might just be up here, okay? Another thing you can do is put blocks underneath your thighs if you want to, if that stretch is too much for you. So try and find where is comfortable and concentrate on that breathing again. We're here for 2 minutes. I'll time you. Don't worry about it. So settle in. So there's 3 principles of Yin Yoga. One of them is finding your edge in the pose so that you're always kind of working and challenging the stretch a little bit. Then you have to find your stillness. Be content. We're going to be here for a couple of minutes depending on the practice that we're doing. And the third one is time. We need to commit to doing the time. So that's what I'm here for. Okay, so coming over. Now you might find, play about with it a bit. If you feel pins and needles, any pain, back off and come out of it, okay? Now you might find that you want to come further down. That's excellent if you want to come further down. That's it. And remember, your props are there for a reason. You can even use, if you don't have a bolster, this can be a blanket, you can be over like this, okay? It doesn't matter. You've got to make it work for you, okay? So staying here, and we're nearly up with the 2 minutes. It does fly in, okay? So what we're doing now is we're deepening our breath, and we're going to get ready to come out of pose. Okay? So what that means is that we're deepening our breath, getting ready to move. Okay? That's it. Now walking your hands back up. That's it. Okay? And I've got the time, and that was a quick 2 minutes, wasn't it? Now, yin yoga means that you can hold it for anything really from 3 to 5 minutes usually. Okay, this is a beginner's class. This is a taste of it. Okay, so we counter pose as well. We've just done our butterfly pose. So we're going to counteract it by sitting with our hands behind us. Okay, and knees hip width apart and windscreen wiping our legs. Okay, loosening up those joints again. That's it. And in yin yoga, we are working in a different type of tissue. We're going deep into connective tissue here, like the fascia. The fascia is like a network that goes all over the body. And what we're doing here is concentrating on that, on all your ligaments, these things that we maybe don't get the chance to delve deeper into in other practices. It's just different. Okay, so now we're going to do a straddle. What this means is, okay, we are going to open up our legs and point your feet up if you can. Don't worry if you can't. Now if you want to, you can bend your knees a little bit or bring your legs in. Go to wherever you need to, okay? So we're sitting up, make sure those sit bones. Now another thing you can do is you can have a blanket, get a blanket folded up, that's it. Sit your bottom down on that, because sometimes it can help if your hips are above your knees, just when you're in a pose like this for a wee while. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold over one leg and hold for a minute or two, fold over the other, and then fold down the front. Okay, so we're in this starting position. I've got the timer, and let's go. So you can put your hands down here. Remember, if you've got blocks or anything like that, you can have them at hand. Be resting here if you want to. You might be flat on the floor. Everybody is totally different. Okay, and again, we're here for a couple of minutes. Okay, so just settle in and get that breath in and out. So what yin does for you is it improves the range of motion, obviously, because we're stretching, we're flexing, and it will improve your range of motion and your flexibility as well. But I'm sure you'll feel that when you're doing it. It increases your circulation as well. Any sort of physical movement is going to do that for you. So remember that edge. Remember it's got to be not sore, but maybe a slight discomfort. Slight discomfort shouldn't be sore. Any pins and needles and back off, okay? Now remember, as you're sitting in this pose, you can always adjust, play about with it and come down a little bit more, okay? You're feeling this in your inner thighs and your lower back, okay? There should be no pain whatsoever. That's it. And we're nearly out of time in this one as well. It does go quicker. I think when you hear at first we've got to hold the poses, you think, oh, there's no way I can hold the pose. We're not asking you to hold a headstand for 2 or 3 minutes. And especially with beginners, you might find you actually struggle to keep a hold of it for 3 minutes. Everyone is so different. It's a very personal thing. So start to deepen your breath again and start to walk back up, okay? So we're going to stay in this position and we're going to fold over to one side, okay? So you can do this a couple of ways. Okay. Okay, started the timer again. You can just fold over like this. So you're going to be feeling this more in the hip that you're folding. I'm folding over my right leg here, so you'll feel that more in your right hip, okay? So folding over, props, same thing, okay? I do like to lean on a couple of blocks. You can have your bolster here if you want. You can, if you're further down, be resting your head on this as well. Or you can simply just have your hands on the floor. Try and keep those feet flexed. If you can, okay, just do what you can and engage with the breath. When we're doing this as well, we're elongating our muscles. You can feel that we're doing that. We're stretching them and we're holding that stretch, and it's a passive stretch, meaning we shouldn't be straining too much, if at all, to hold that. We should be able to just sit and be content, remembering our 3 principles. Just still yourself, accept you're going to be here for a few minutes and commit to the time. Okay? And if you've got a very busy mind, this might be a challenge at first. It was for me. I'm not going to lie about that. I couldn't still my mind. I preferred a more active practice like Ashtanga Vinyasa, where you're kept going. But recently, I've really come to see the benefits of yin just by sticking at it, staying practicing, and it's really helped calm the mind as well. But that's a personal experience. It's not going to be the same for everybody. That's it. Remember, keep adjusting. If you feel you can go deeper into that pose, please do that, okay? And you can also come over like this if you want to. It really just depends. But let's just start with folding over our leg. And we're going to deepen the breath and walk back up to the centre, okay? So we're going to do the other side. Okay, so coming over. Now you might find this side is tighter. You might find it's easier, okay? Use your props if you want to. Okay, remember the blocks have 3 heights. They've got top height, middle height, bottom height, okay? But you don't have to use blocks. You can use books or cushions or a bolster. It does not have to be specific yoga props at all. Okay, now just check in with yourself. How are you feeling? How's the breathing going? If you breathe and you concentrate on your breathing, you will trigger that relaxation response in your body. And be aware as well if you're clamping your muscles round, because this can be, you are stressing the muscles slightly, so you can sometimes feel that the muscles clamp round your joints, but try to breathe into that if you feel that, and relax them, because you're going to get a better result from a nice relaxed muscle that you're stretching rather than clamping on and keeping it tight. Okay, so very still, nice breathing. Feeling that in the other hip this time, and you're still getting a stretch up here as well, but you're also loosening the back because we are coming over this way, so you are involving the back in this movement as well. Feeling nice and relaxed. You shouldn't be straining for 2 or 3 minutes or however long the hold is. And we're going to start deepening our breath in just a little second. Ready to move. And then we're going to just pop any props to the side and then walk up slowly. And then we're going to do that same counter pose. Bring your legs in. You might feel that. You bring them in. Put your hands behind you and windscreen wiper those legs. Really good for releasing, because you have been sitting in these poses for a fair amount of time. You might never have sat in a pose for that amount of time before. So it's nice just to release that feeling of tightness that you might never have had before. Or it might just be this particular pose. We all have our 1 or 2 poses that we get a very different stretch from, and we maybe struggle with as well. That's it. So next we're going to come in to child's pose. Okay, so we are going to put our big toes together on the mat. We're going to bring our knees out. You can bring them out as wide as your mat if you want. You don't have to come out that far. And then you're going to sit back in your heels as much as you can. Now, if your heels aren't getting to your bottom, you can always pop a blanket under there, prop yourself up a bit, come down and pop that forehead on the mat. Okay, now again, there's variations. I'll just set my timer. There we go. Now there's variations. You can have your head on a block if you like, or even if you've got a bolster, and this is a really nice one, if you have got a bolster or a big pillow, you can sit like this. Okay, so a few different options open to you, and you're feeling this opening up that lower back, feeling it opening your hips as well because your legs are open a bit wider. That's it. If you feel you don't need the props, by the same token, take them out. Okay, that does feel nice with the bolster, but you can just have your head on the mat. Stretch those arms out in front of you and breathe. And again, you might find some poses are fine to begin with and you do develop, pain or soreness, and please just back off as soon as that happens. Remembering that breath in and out of your nose. Feel that opening under your shoulder blades, over your upper back, in your hip area, your glutes, lower back as well. If you do need to back up, just come up a wee bit, that's absolutely fine. Feel how nice it is just to be nice and centred. A nice stretch on the mat. Settling in and deepening your breath. That's it. And slowly walking your hands back up. So now we're going to do a half shoelace pose. Okay, I'll show you what this is. Okay, so first of all, we're going to keep our right leg straight. Okay, so put your leg out in front of you like this. And what we're going to do is you're going to cross that left leg over. Okay, and what you're going to do is try, if you can, you try and line your knees up here. Okay, scooch that leg back, scooch the foot back, so you're in this sort of position. Okay, so let me just start the timer. We're going to do 2 minutes on each side. So we're here. Okay, if that's too much for you, you can always support this knee a little bit. You can put the blanket under your bottom as well. Okay, and if you want to, you can just put your hands by your sides and just feel that stretch over your hip area. Or what you can do is you can take your hands behind your back and hold on to your elbows if you want to. That's it, and open up the chest at the same time. You don't need to do that at all. Okay, you can just stay right here. Use your blocks if you want to. Okay, and try and keep that front foot flexed as well. Nice deep breathing. And again, if you feel, I can probably get a wee bit deeper into that, just adjust. That's absolutely no problem at all. If you feel like it, you can lean forward a little bit, fold just a tiny bit, but find your edge. It's really important, because if we just sat there and we weren't really doing much, I'm not sure, yes, we would find a benefit from the practice, but why not get as much benefit as we can? Find your edge. Think to yourself, yep, that's just about me, just there. And then go with it. Okay. If you just want to relax for the whole practice, then maybe restorative yoga would be better for you, which is literally just completely relaxing for half an hour, or an hour, or however long it is. Okay, so start to deepen the breath. Sit back up if you were leaning forward. Okay. Then we're going to take this leg back down, and remember those windshield wipers, put your hands behind you, windshield wiper just for a second. Then we're going to do the other side. Okay, That's it. Windshield wiper, side to side. Go as fast or as slow as you want. Okay, so this time, left leg stays straight, right leg comes across. That's it. And try and line those knees up if you can, and scooch that leg back if you want, and you'll feel it open up over your hip and your glute here. I'll start the timer. That's it, and settle in. Flex that front foot, adjust if you need to, come forward if you want, and then you get that extra stretch in that hamstring at the back. Okay, remember you can sit up and hold your elbows if you want to. That's absolutely fine. Add that in. Other than that, just settle into the pose, just a couple of minutes. As I say, we're holding all these poses for 2 minutes. Usually, kind of normal yin class you go to, you'd be holding it for 3 to 5 minutes. But because this is a beginner sequence, shorter time is better to start with. And then you can gauge it. If you think 2 minutes is easy, then up the time yourself, especially if you're doing yin as your home practice. That's it. Nice deep breaths. Think how nice you're going to feel after this yin practice, after having a good old stretch. That's it. Nice deep breathing. Feel where it's working. Be in tune with your body. It shouldn't be sore, remember. That's it. Now deepening the breath again. We're going to come out of this pose. That's it. Starting to deepen the breath. Then if you're folded forward, come back. If your hands are around your back, bring them back round. And you're going to just take this leg over, and we're going to do that counter pose again. Okay, hands behind you, and windscreen wiper those legs. And then we're going to go onto our backs after this. Okay. So we're very much, the ones that we've done before are very much hip openers as well. But it is an all over body sequence, this one. Definitely concentrating on the hips, as you'll feel, I hope. So we're going to come on to our backs now. So let's turn around. That's it. And lie down on your mat. So we're going to do happy baby pose here, okay? Again, always variations. Ideally, if you can bring your knees up, okay? And we're going to try and hold on to the outside of the feet, okay? If you can do that, then great. And what you do is you bring your knees up and then out. So you're almost not pulling, but you're pulling down and out like that, okay? On your feet. You can hold on to the outside or the inside of your feet. Now, if that's too much, you can just hold on here. You're still going to get the goodness out of it. Let me just start the timer. So, holding on here. Your arms are on the kind of, you can be on the outside, as I say, and the inside of your feet. Now, settle into this. Ask yourself, is it too much? If so, you can come into this position. Keep your feet out and wide, but you can hold on to the backs of your thighs. And again, you'll feel this in your hips. Keep that spine nice and flat on the floor, nice and grounded into the floor. Looking up to the ceiling, okay? That's it. Now, if this is not enough for you, you can straighten those legs a wee bit, okay? Obviously, you're going to be hindered maybe by your arms. Depends how long your arms are there. But you can straighten your legs a wee bit, or just keep them bent. And you shouldn't be dragging your feet down to try and increase that stretch. It's a very passive stretch, this one. You're just using that resistance of your hands to create the amount of edge of where your edge is. Okay, you should definitely feel this. If not, please do feel free to open those legs up a bit wider and pull a little bit farther down. But always be gentle. Nothing should be sore at all. just for another few seconds. The 2 minutes flies in, doesn't it, really? That's it. Keep breathing. Starting to deepen your breath because you're going to come out of that. So gently, just bringing your knees back together. That's it. Let's do those windscreen wipers again, depending on what part of the world you're in. It might be windshield wipers. Come back. And you feel that loosening it off, or you should do anyway. Feel loosening that off. So from here, we're going to do a reclined twist, which means that your knees are together, if possible, okay? And what you're going to do is drop them over to the left. Now, they don't have to, as usual, they don't have to go on the floor. You can slip a blanket under there, or you can slip a blanket between your legs as well. Put your hands out to the sides. That's it, at a right angle, and you're going to look to your right. Okay, if that's too much for you, you can look up ahead, okay? You can put blocks under those knees as well. Just find your edge in this pose, okay? And look to the right if you can. Okay? Start my time, and then don't want to forget about that. We might be here all day. So, a reclined twist. So you can feel this in your core. And it's a lovely spinal twist. Really good for massaging those internal organs. If you've not just eaten recently, that is. Keep looking over to your right. Adjusting as you need to. I'll show you what to do with that blanket. You can put it between those knees. That's it. To make it a little bit more comfortable. As I say, we don't want to be in pain. If there's a way that you can still get the benefit of the stretch whilst using the props, absolutely use them. You can double that blanket up. The blanket's a good one because you can really do quite a lot with it. There we go. You can do that as well. So, everyone's different. Absolutely different. Staying there, committing to holding the time. Pull this blanket out. There we go. And remember, the knees do not need to come to the floor. Remembering to breathe, it might feel a little bit more restricted to you here. Just mainly because of the position that you're in, really. Remembering that breath. So we're going to start deepening the breath again. Ready to move. And keep your hands out to the side. Bring your knees up to the centre. And we're going to go to the other side. Of course we are. And over, and you might find this side's different. Turn your head to the left. If that's too much, just bring it back up. Okay, so you should be feeling this in your abdominals. Just at the side here. When your knees are over to the right anyway, you'll feel it in your left hand side. Okay, and your spine is getting a lovely twist here. Releasing any tension you may have. Great for the lower back, this as well. But again, you've got to be comfortable in your pose while still finding your edge. And it can take a few times to do that. So do keep at it. Keep adjusting. Because once you find that, and once you get a nice balance of what you want out of the practice, and adjusting yourself and getting you into position, it's a very lovely practice. So staying here. And this reclined twist is our last pose of this sequence. And then after this we go into Shavasana. Final resting pose. And Shavasana is a pose. So it's really important to not just jump up and get on with the rest of your day. Generally, at the end of every yoga practice, we have to have a Shavasana. I'll explain a little bit more about that in a wee second. So just checking in with how you're feeling. Thinking back to that intention that you set at the beginning of this practice. Have you nearly achieved that? Does it feel like you're going to achieve it? Tomorrow that you feel nice and loose. Checking in with your body. How does it feel? Has it changed from when you started your practice? deepen your breath again. Bringing those legs back up. And just for a second, put your knees together and your legs are outside of the mat. So you're sort of lying knock-kneed, if you like, on the mat. And just settle there just for a second. Okay, so now we're going to come into our Shavasana. We are going to lie our legs out long and at the side of the mat. Hands are face palms up and they're slightly away from the body. And we're going to shut our eyes and just have a lovely Shavasana. Now the Shavasana can be any length you want. This is a slightly shorter sequence. We will do a slightly shorter one today. It can be anything from, a couple of minutes up to 20 minutes. The longer the better, actually. So feel free to hit pause and have your own Shavasana. But let's just feel our breath coming in and out of our nose. And let's just feel our body. Check in. How does it feel? Do you feel more relaxed than you did half an hour ago? Do you feel more supple than you did half an hour ago? Just feel yourself in contact with the mat and feel how nice and grounded you feel after that practice. Are you looking after your body, stretching, and spending a bit of time on yourself? You can carry on in your Shavasana if you like. Other than that, give your toes a wee wiggle. Invite the prospective movement back into your body. And what you can do is you can bend your knees as well. Just stay there for a wee second. Take your time getting up, okay? You can roll onto your side, any side you want. It doesn't have to be any particular side. It's got to suit you. Stay here for a second. Take as long as you need to get up. Okay, so coming right up in a really slow and controlled way. Coming up, sit with your legs crossed again. Is it easier sitting with your legs crossed here than it was at the beginning? Maybe, maybe not. And let's put our hands to our hearts. I hope this practice heals and strengthens your body and your mind. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me for a beginner sequence of Yin Yoga. If you have any questions, please drop me a message, or if you have any requests, please just drop me a message. I would love to talk to you about it. And I hope to see you back here for maybe another Yin class. Maybe it'll be something different next time. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you again soon. See you later.